Hello and welcome to the Nottingham Buddhist Centre. So my name is Gareth and you're joining me for the Friday lunchtime meditation class. Very warm welcome to you. This is your first time, or if you're just coming back. So today we are looking at the metta bhavana, the cultivation of a loving kindness meditation. We alternate between two different meditations at these classes. So there's the one that we're going to be doing today, and there's also the mindfulness of breathing, which we do on the alternate week. So whereas the mindfulness of breathing is all about paying attention to your breath, this one is all about noticing responses to different people and towards ourselves, and trying to cultivate quality, sort of a mind of warmth and well-wishing towards, ultimately all beings, but beginning with ourselves and then extending towards a number of other people. Please do feel free to let me know who I've got sitting with me. It's always nice to have a sense of who there is, and you can just leave me a message in the live chat if you like. If you do have any questions about the practices or anything else that we do at the centre, then you're very welcome to ask me here, or you can always drop us an email at the Nottingham Buddhist Centre. Email address is info@nottinghambuddhistcentre.org, and there are some links to the website on I think below the video. If not, then certainly on our profile page. So without further ado, I think we'll get into it. So the metta bhavana. I think what I'm going to be talking about today is just the sort of the value of staying with a form. I might talk about the value of shaking it up, and the next time I come to do that with this. Hi, Jen. Nice to have you with me. There is a real value I've found in having a particular approach to the meditation and staying with that, basically. So we'll be doing this meditation today in 5 stages. So in the first stage, cultivating well-wishing towards ourselves. In the second stage, calling to mind a good friend, doing the same towards them. Third stage is a neutral person. Fourth stage is a difficult person, almost the enemy, we might call that stage. And then the fifth, we bring all of those people together and then allow our well-wishing to sort of extend outwards from there towards all beings, or at least as much of the world as we can imagine, or using our imagination to allow in as much of the world as we can. Perhaps that's another way of talking about it. So if you've been meditating for a while, or maybe not for a while at all, perhaps even if you're new to the practice, then I think there is a tendency for us to want to try new things, and to after we've become familiar with the 5 stages, to shake things up and perhaps just let our minds kind of play out. And whilst there's certainly some value in trying to do that if it keeps our engagement with the practice fresh, there is a real strength in holding to a form to some extent. So I suppose meditation becomes most powerful when we're doing it regularly, and you may even notice that there are days you sit down to do it and you really would rather be doing something else, but just out of sort of force of habit, if nothing else, it just carries you through, and actually you end up really glad that you did, because at the end you feel very different than you did at the start. So there is that positive momentum that we build up whenever we create a positive habit, and in that sense, having the same 5 stages each time we come to do it is really helpful, just on that level, that we don't need to think about it. We know what we're doing. Once we've kind of got familiar with it, there's a kind of sort of whatever the mental equivalent of muscle memory is. You just kind of fall into the rhythm. which can be really sustaining it when if we're not feeling especially inspired or engaged by the thought of meditation, but we still want to continue because we know how beneficial it is. So there's that. There is also something about how comprehensive those 5 stages are. So we might be tempted to skip out some of the stage that we don't especially enjoy, or and actually that could be any of the stages. It's quite interesting. What I think of what I'm noticing at the moment is I tend to not emphasize the final stage very much, even though in some ways I find that the most intriguing and kind of fascinating when I think about it. But there's something about, at the moment I'm finding it relatively easy to connect to people that I immediately know, but then when I make the movement to extend that or open it outwards, because it becomes slightly less concrete, I feel less grounded and less compelled to in the 5th stage. At the moment, that's not always been the case. But I've been doing the 5 stages for a long time, so I just carry on, and I know that in time that will shift. I don't entirely know what will come after this sort of after this kind of phase of my meditative life, but I know that each of those 5 stages is a vitally important part of this whole practice, and we can kind of trust that all the stages are there for a reason. So just to sort of give a sense of why that might be, if you're wondering why. So in the 1st stage, obviously we begin with ourselves, and I'm really aware now of how much my ability to respond compassionately to other people depends on my ability to be in touch with my own desire for well-being, I suppose. When I'm out of touch with that, when I don't really have a sense of it, and I'm just kind of following the different impulses that come up in my life without a sense that they are all pointed towards this one aim of being happy, then it's not so easy to relate to other people in the same way. We can kind of lose sight of the big picture, and also become we lose one way into empathy with others if we're not empathizing with ourselves. So then the following 3 stages cover the rest, cover the remaining kind of spectrum of responses that we can have to people. People we like, people we don't have strong feelings about, and then people we really don't like. And that's basically, those 3 categories cover everyone in the world, or everyone who could possibly be in the world, in one way or another. So by choosing one person from those, there's something really comprehensive about that. We're really engaging with the full spectrum of our emotional responses, and the full spectrum of the kinds of people, at least from our perspective, that exist in the world. So then when we get to the very final stage, and it's time to bring them together and to extend outwards, we've really laid the groundwork for that. We're in touch with ourselves. So there's a sense of being tapped into our basic desire to be happy, which makes it easier to empathize with others. And then we've sort of warmed up all the different forms of responsiveness that we have to people. So that again, that full spectrum is kind of primed and ready to be engaged with when we do widen the sort of vision out to take everything in. So there is a sense that all 5 stages really fit together. So I'm really, again, encouraging you to stay with the structure. There are times when it's good to experiment, but knowing that you've got that to come back to is really supportive, I've found. So it's sustaining because of the kind of positive effects of habit, and also we can kind of trust in the comprehensiveness of the practice, that the stages are there for a reason. And if we remove one of them without much thought, then we may well be losing some vital element of the whole process of mental transformation that we're putting ourselves through. Okay, well that's a little bit on that topic. So yeah, when we go into the meditation today, I thought yeah, that will just sort of be in the background, that sort of theme. So if you're not already set up, please settle yourself in, get into meditation posture. Make sure you've got everything that you need in order to be comfortable. Just checking our posture, just seeing if we can have a sense of grounding, of being rooted down into the ground and also rising up. And then relaxing. Just trying to get as comfortable as we can. We're just going to move through a quick body scan before we move into the main meditation. It'll be very brief today. Just gradually taking in all the parts of the body, starting in the head, in the crown, the scalp, taking in the face, the lips, the jaw, the neck and shoulders. And the arms and the hands. Coming back to the chest, the upper back, softening, opening, coming down into the belly, the abdomen, the lower back. Groin and the pelvis. All the way down into the legs. Taking in all the different parts of the legs, including the joints, until we come to the feet. And then we're pulling back to a broad awareness of the whole body. Taking the opportunity just to reconnect with our intention, the desire to stay with the meditation. So each time we wander off, become preoccupied with something else, we're just going to calmly put that down, come back to cultivating well-wishing towards the relevant person. So moving into the first stage of the cultivation of loving kindness, and we're calling to mind ourselves, and whether we are visualizing ourselves contacting a felt sense of our own bodily presence, whether we're dropping in phrases, just occasionally saying in our minds, may I be happy, may I be well, may I be free from suffering, or words to that effect. Each time we lose the thread, coming back. This is the first stage. It might take time to build up momentum. To allow ourselves to relax into this other state of awareness. It holds a vital place in the complete practice. And body and body awareness is always there as an anchor, something we can come back to if we become lost in our thoughts. If we're getting a bit too caught up in the idea of what we're supposed to be doing, just seeing if we can contact some sense of curiosity about ourselves. How am I doing? What is it like, even just to be alive at the moment? In this body at this time. And moving into the next stage, calling to mind a good friend, someone that our immediate response to is usually one of warmth, friendliness. Calling them to mind in whatever way works best for us. Picturing them, feeling their physical closeness, as it were, imagining through the body. dropping in numbers, dropping in words occasionally, wishing them well, maybe happy, maybe well, maybe free from suffering. If we have a sense of them going through difficult things at the moment, it might be helpful just to leave aside the actual circumstances and just connect with how they might be feeling. We don't need to resolve their problems in a practical sense. That's not what we're trying to do here. Just opening to the idea of what it might be like to be them, alive at this moment, in their body, just as we are in ours. Moving on again into the third stage, calling to mind a neutral person, someone we don't have strong feelings about one way or another. We might be inclined to stay with the preceding stage rather than move on to this less emotive person. But we can just trust in the importance of this stage, in the fact that so many of the people in the world are neutral to us. Probably the majority. We don't feel one way or the other about when you pass them in the street. All the people we're inclined to ignore, forget about. Not through callousness or neglect, but just because we desire to move towards what is enjoyable, away from what is unpleasant, and ignore what is not important to us. And yet there's so much more than our preferences going on in the world. So many more people experiencing life with the same vividness as we do, as our friends do. And if we open to that fact in the body of this neutral person, things will become clearer for us as well. Moving on to the fourth stage. Calling to mind someone more difficult, someone we don't usually enjoy being around. This stage might have its own challenges. It is a necessary part of that movement from ourselves towards all beings. If we are going to see the world clearly, be able to emotionally connect with things as they really are, and that's going to include some people that we don't like. And whether we are picturing them, bringing them into our physical presence, with that sort of imagination through the body faculty. Doesn't have to be too close, just as if they were in the same room perhaps. We can drop in the same phrases as we've used in the preceding stages. May be happy, may be well, may be free from suffering. May this person too find real relief. And in the fifth and final stage, calling together everyone we've already thought about, ourselves, a good friend, the neutral person, the difficult person, seeing if we can have some sense of that compassionate awareness extending towards us all, encompassing us all, seeing and feeling our shared vulnerability, our shared aspiration for growth, completeness, happiness, in all the many confused forms that takes. And from there, allowing our well-wishing to extend outwards, taking in more and more of the world, opening more and more to everything that exists. And whether we are visualizing larger and larger portions of the world, so we pull back to reveal that great star field, or whatever symbol it is that encompasses everything for you. And whether we are allowing well-wishing to extend from our bodies throughout space. Moving in all directions. And just dropping in the phrases, may all beings be happy, may all beings be well, may all beings be free from suffering. In this stage, completing the movement began in the first, unifying everyone we've already encountered. And then opening into mystery. And then letting go of that intention, coming back to our bodies, back to that broad awareness that we started with. Noticing any changes. Just congratulating ourselves on the fact that we have acted on the intention we began with. Have spent this time working on ourselves for the benefit of all beings. Profound and unusual thing to have done with a Friday lunchtime. And in a moment I'm going to ring the bell. And after I do, you can draw the meditation to a close and open your eyes. Okay, well thank you very much for sitting with me. Yeah, hope that went well for you. If you have any questions or any responses to the practice, then yeah, I'm going to be here for a little while longer. Or you can always contact us on email or by social media. Yeah, we've got the usual Facebook, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and just sort of yeah, go well with the rest of the day. It's sort of really touched in again with that awareness of the people on the other side of the camera, as it were, and all of you out there meditating in your own sort of spaces. One of the strange sort of gifts of this period is that it does something to the fifth stage, I think, doing the metta bhavana now. You're very welcome. Because I suppose it's there when you're meditating together in a room at the center, perhaps, but it's something about extending towards all people, and actually you know that somewhere, you may not know their name or where in the country they are, but somewhere there is someone doing it with you. That I find does something profound to the last stage. I'm not quite exactly sure what it is, but it's very enjoyable anyway. So it was really nice to know that you were with me, Jen. I wonder if we've met before. Anyway, I hope we do at some point anyway. But that's probably everything from me. So we will be back at Tuesday lunchtime. So Rachel is now doing Tuesday lunchtimes. And then there's another one on Tuesday evening as well at 7:30. There's also puja night tonight. If you are interested in ritual, we have a puja happening online via Zoom. You can, if you're sort of familiar with practices if you've been through an introductory course with Triratna, then please do join us. You can do that by just dropping us an email, basically, at the Nottingham Buddhist Centre, and we'll send you the link for it. I think that's everything I was going to say. Oh, also, if you are able to support us financially, that would be amazing. We're still continuing with lockdown, unfortunately. So, although it seems to be the right thing to do. So yes, we're still completely dependent on the generosity of people connecting with us online like yourselves. So if you do want to support us to continue what we're doing, that would be amazing. I actually became supported as the centre manager not very long ago, so some portion of that does keep me fed. So thank you very much if you are able to. Otherwise, just keep practicing. Certainly what the world needs. I think just by engaging today, you've really given something to the world and to the centre. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you again soon. So just wait a minute in case anyone else is there. You too, Jen. Take care. See you soon. Okay, well, I'll round it off there then. Thank you very much.